I guess I can describe it as a kind of hell. You're living in not knowing where your child is.
1 month from now, Lydia Daniels' son will have been missing for 7 years. This anniversary is different than the last 6, as it's the first time the family is planning a ceremony, which they say is to send Colten Pratt to the spirit world.
I know he loved his family so much and he hasn't made contact, but gives us good reason to believe that he's no longer here, but has something has happened to him. Possibly he was harmed.
Colten Pratt was last seen here at the Marlborough Hotel in Winnipeg on November 7th of 2014. His family has held out hope for years that he wasn't one of the missing and murdered Indigenous men and boys.
We have a traditional ceremony that helps people move on to the spirit world, but that doesn't mean that we're giving up hope on Colten. We believe there's answers out there. We believe that somebody knows something, and it's just to help us come to terms. It's just to help us with the healing process.
Pratt, who identified as two-spirited, was a happy, funny kid, according to his mother, but she says he dealt with bullying because of his identity. The Native Women's Association of Canada represents the political voice of Indigenous women, girls, and gender-diverse people.
I feel for, the diverse community, the gender-diverse community, because, they do have these barriers. They still face discrimination and racism. And being an Indigenous person, that just adds another check mark on the discrimination and the racism that occurs.
Daniels has advocated for more attention to be brought to men and boys and feels that too often the lens stays focused on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls only. According to Stats Canada, of the 201 Indigenous people murdered in 2020, 81% were men. John Hansen, an associate professor of sociology at the University of Saskatchewan, says every Indigenous person who is missing or murdered is equally important, and future inquiries should be for missing and murdered Indigenous people.
To make a more holistic approach, in my view, would develop new insights into how we can understand. It limits the amount of information we can get by just focusing on part of the issue rather than the whole issue.
Despite Pratt's family deciding it was time to hold a ceremony for him, his mother Lydia Daniels' journey for answers won't stop here.
Come forward and give us so we can have the peace and put Colten to rest.
In Winnipeg, Mike Albanese, City News.